Other events included Wooly versus Fago, which will be also coming out soon on the channel. In
You
which,
know, I've never had Fago. How is it?
well, we sat down and tried out what I want to say is maybe 12 different flavors of Fago, dude.
That's pretty
And
impressive.
man, like, okay, I kind of like I got a spit bucket ready just because you
Yeah.
never know. And also, I have not ingested that much sugar in years.
Yeah.
Um, I ended up opting not to spit, just for the sake of like decency and stream.
Did you have the water to cleanse your palate with?
Eventually, water did come,
Okay.
so it wasn't there right away, but it did come. Fuck, dude, Fago is just, you know how they used to make soda back in the day, right?
I do.
You manually would squirt the high fructose corn syrup and then pour the fizzy
Yeah,
water in.
I had like a robot, instead of a juicer, it was like make your own soda at home thing
Yeah.
in the
Or the
90s.
powders even, you know.
Yeah.
And in this case, it's just what if you put 5 too many squirts into the
Yeah.
can and then drop the same amount of fizzy water. It is wild. And the thing is, when you look at like normal American soda, already has, like, I look at the back of a can and I simply
Already has too much.
it already has way more than our soda does, right?
Yeah, so the funniest thing is like I remember I had one of the monsters on camera right during Death Stranding, like a regular monster, and I struggled to swallow it. Me, I'm the sugar king. I love that. Struggled. It was like it was revolting.
You'll
And like the sugar-free ones are almost too sweet to drink. I don't know what the other thing they put in these things.
It's crazy. So you'd get like a can here that I would consider high would be like, well, they'd be like 40 grams, you know, and then you look at like a normal American soda and then it would be like 60, 65, and some of these things were going up to 80. It's
Listen,
just
Americans need more sugar.
wild amounts, but we yeah, so basically ended up creating a tier list for everything, and I do have to say it was not all just backwash. There were some winners.
Ah,
There were some winners in
there
there.
always are.
Um,
Well, not unless you're drinking the. Oh God, what was it? I'm trying to think like what the worst energy drink John Bomb ever had. I think it was the Blizzard Potion energy drink, the Mana Potion.
oh wow.
That thing
Okay.
like apparently tastes like rotten.
I can tell you right now that like outside of this ranking event, I had one of the most disgusting things because part of while down there, I was like, you know what? I'm also gonna do a thing that I'm gonna do that I don't usually do is I'm gonna try to get to. I want to go to some places or have some food from places that I don't usually get a chance to try that are like American, just trash food staples.
Yep.
So, got to a Red Lobster, got the cheddar biscuits, did the thing. You know, I'm like, yep, these are excellent. These cheddar biscuits, they're good. Got to there was a Bennigan's. Unfortunately, didn't get to go to the Bennigan's, but I have heard about those. I want to know. Got to a what was the one? What was the one? Went to Olive Garden, right? Ordered a bop and a boopy. got some,
Oh yeah.
got the tour of Italy, and it's like, yep, that's about what I expected of the Olive Garden. The breadsticks, there's endless amounts. You eating the pasta, you're like, yep, there you go. That's fine. That'll do the thing. It's right what you expect. Ordered some Arby's, and I have never had a more mid like sandwich in my life. It's the type like it went in and I kind of was just all I'm thinking about is all those Daily Show jokes over the years about like how insane it was, and sure enough, someone who worked there who worked at Arby's for a couple years was like, oh yeah, dude, you don't want to know about how we make those sandwiches. Like, I was there for a couple years. It ain't, it's rough.
Wait, what can it's Arby's is like a ham sandwich. What could you do to it?
It's just the block of meat that they get frosted, and then they have to defrost it, and it's just a goop. And
Oh,
then
man.
you shave off some slices from the goop, and then you cook them for the day.
Let me tell you. The other day, Paige and I went on a little day trip to explore around, and we saw a restaurant that I have never heard of that they got out here in British Columbia that appeared from like a far distance to be some kind of Denny's variation.
Shoney's.
I have never seen a restaurant with a more disgusting, more repellent name. It's called the White Spot.
Yeah.
And like
Yeah.
everything about like it makes me think of like a stained bed sheet. It's just like, oh my god.
Oh, that's good. Let's go eat at the White Spot.
Lord. I like we have to eat at one eventually, but like every time we pass it, we're like, today isn't that day. Fuck.
I was telling Reggie about the Cracker Barrel, and unfortunately, we didn't find any. We didn't get to go to one, but that's one where it's like we need to go there just so that you can stand in the gift shop in the front and just look around and start to feel really nervous. That gift
Cracker
shop,
Barrels have fucking gift shops?
you have to walk through it to get to the restaurant.
Why?
Because it's an old-timey vibe, and they want that vibe to be what you experience first, then you get to the food. And that
I don't
vibe
understand.
is either really nostalgic for some people or super terrifying for others. So
I see.
yeah.
Depends on the meaning of the good old days.
Something about a Cracker Barrel gift shop makes you really nervous. You know? But then you get the biscuits and gravy, and you're like, God damn it, this food is good. It was real. The biscuits and gravy is solid. Anyway, I decided to just fully embrace the place I was in, and while Reggie was drawing snores, I ordered me some 2 a.m. Taco Bell because I'm like,
You're going ham on all the Americana here.
Yeah. I'm like, I need to know. So I'm like, oh yeah, I seen a commercial for that. What's that? A Gordita Crunch? Sure. Throw one of those in. Give me one of them Chalupa Lupas, whatever. And then of course the word, which I've heard and seen the memes of, but I need to know. They had a big old jumbo Baja Blast Mountain Dew sugar-free. And I'm like,
I've never seen a Baja Blast.
Diet Mountain Dew Baja Blast? What the fuck? And I ordered that shit. And it just shows up, and it's not a cup, it's a bucket size. It's like the jumbo crazy theater thing. Like, it's ridiculous. Ridiculous sized. And I took 2 sips, and like, I cannot for the life of me identify anything remotely resembling a normal flavor or fruit. Nothing about it tastes real. It is the most chemically manufactured shit. I can't believe how non-real it tasted. It was so weird. Super fucking weird.
That reminds me of a discussion I had a little while ago about how, like, I'm not super big on watermelon, but shitty fake chemical watermelon fucking load me up with that.
Yeah, like I feel as if there's a horrifying future where we can create like an entire group of like dark fruits that are just not fruits that ever existed, but you can get them in soda flavors, you know?
That reminds me, you know how banana flavored shit doesn't taste like a banana at all?
Yep.
It in fact tastes like a completely different thing. You know why that is?
Why?
Because it tastes like actual banana before the banana famine.
Oh, before all we got left with was the dole. Okay. Yeah. Quick history lesson for anyone who doesn't know. Bananas used to have multiple types and strains back in the day in the 70s. And then a banana famine killed off every single type, but the only one resistant was the dole for banana. so that's what they all are like
shit
now.
banana that we have now.
And then there's the alternate family stuff like figs and plantains, but that's a different thing. Yeah, dude, there are some wild dark fruits that are just you can't put your finger on it. It doesn't taste like anything you've ever tasted. But Baja Blast absolutely is that. This fucking aqua blue-green colored thing.
So it tastes like chemicals, right? That's what it tastes like?
Yeah, just absolute chemical.
It's like this tastes like chemicals. This doesn't taste like a food that was invented in nature.
Yeah, but in a more sinister way, I would say. But anyway,
you describe the taste of Baja Blast as sinister chemicals?
Like, when I taste like a fake fruit, like I'm tasting like oh, you extracted a whole ton of this like orange or this grape, and then you distilled it, and now it's like a powder, and then that dried powder is being mixed back into this concentrate, and we're gonna drink that, right? But this thing, it's blue-green. It's aqua.
Okay. Does it taste blue?
No, it doesn't. It tastes like someone in a lab coat with a beaker dripping something into something. It tastes like Walter White and Jesse Pinkman looking through the cooking. That's what it's so weird. It's teal. Yes, it tastes teal. That's what it tastes. It doesn't taste blue. I know what blue tastes like. It tastes teal.
BC seems very nice. Everyone here is very nice. Like, very, very nice. I ran into a lady on the street walking the Zangief, and she said, well, you know why? I said, oh, wow, everybody around here is really, really kind and very polite. She said, well, you know why we're all so nice out here, right? I go, why? It's like, because we're stoned. I'm stoned right now. Says to me this woman who appears to be in her 80s.
Hell yeah.
And I'm like, I fucking knew it. I fucking knew it. I have been saying that my whole fucking life. And I had a goddamn BC old lady native just tell it to my fucking face.
420, so young man.
Thrilled. Absolutely thrilled. Great.
Just pulling up on the fucking scooter with the haze of a hot box smoke behind her. Da-da-da-da-da.
Just great.
So, should we start with Bionicle?
I was thinking about it. So apparently it's like a Lego toy that like the kids play with, and it's like a Gundam, but like Legos.
Mm-hmm. And there's characters, and there's like a whole property and movies and stuff. Yeah. So, who am I to ignore a nice alley-oop whenever it's tossed up into the air, right? You know me. I'm always down for that. It's a free one. However, I'm curious because I have a thought on the matter, but I'm curious as to how it even. Why are we talking about Bionicle?
Oh, that's easy. I was looking at the videos on the internet, and there was one that was like a bunch of action figures, and I thought it was somebody's cringe Warhammer like skit video that was like some kind of goth IHOP thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, whatever, and I skipped it, and everyone's like, you don't know what Bionicles fucking is? I'm like, I don't know. I think I might have heard the name once or twice, literally ever in my entire life.
Okay.
And I was like, did people know what this is? And then Paige looked at me like I was crazy. And then everybody said I was crazy. And I'm like, how am I supposed to know about these TV shows I never heard of?
Okay. Because, yeah, I assume that it must be an urgent situation when I'm getting texts about the situation at whatever point. However, I know about Bionicle because I grew up with Lego, played a bunch of it, and then I remember when I was growing older, they started introducing the Technic line of Legos, which was the
I remember
more,
that.
though exactly right. Those were towards the sort of the advanced, more complex ones, and then Technic eventually did evolve into the Bionicle, which is the whole like IP with characters and stuff behind it. Thing is, though, and this is just the honest truth, by the point at which I would say you're what year were you born?
86.
86. I'm 85. By the point at which that
Yeah, I
came
was
out,
14 when this came out.
we were on our way out of high school and going into college. So the honest truth is the timeline of Bionicle not lining up with you makes perfect sense. I'm stepping in to say here, you
it was
are
a TV show.
it makes perfect sense because my friends as well, everyone that I knew growing up at that age was not that Bionicle was coming out as people were going into college, getting out of like toys and things like that. So the age difference of the 10 years between you and the people you're speaking to is going to make the difference there.
I like how everyone's going nuts because you said 14, getting ready to leave in high school, go to college. Like, you graduate from high school in Quebec at 17. I was halfway through high school when I was 14 years old.
Well, look,
I vividly remember I had already stopped watching television at that age and had switched entirely over to bootleg VHS tapes and insanely long downloads off of like LimeWire and torrent sites.
I had to be perfectly honest with Paige and just go, and I was like, yeah, no, the timing of when that dropped was the mid-aughts. In 2002 or so, I was graduating, going into college as well. That specific era of me playing with Legos was like, the 90s. And I remember
I stopped playing with Legos when I was like 8 or 9. I want to say.
And then I remember in my teenage years, I saw ads for Technic, but I didn't get into it. But I saw it. I remember that was the thing. I was like, oh, okay, they're getting into more advanced stuff. And there was a big race car that you could build, like an RC type thing, And then by the time I started seeing the introduction of the brand that is Bionicle, I was off of TV already. It was just coming out as I was moving into like torrent life and cord cutting entirely. So
I feel like a lot of the blind spots that I've encountered where people are like, you don't know this, are 1, 10 years younger than I am, and 2, I don't know how it is for the younger generation, but when I was at a certain age, if you were into like games or Japanese anime or whatever, you basically just gave up on television in your mid-teens entirely.
Yep.
I haven't watched TV for real since I was like 12 years old, and thus there are a lot of blind spots.
But that's when the Naruto torrents started. Yeah, that's essentially,
The last piece of TV that I came home and watched with my mom was 9/11.
Now,
to put that into context with people. No, hold on. Everyone's screaming, it's not a TV show. But how would I have known about it had I not seen a commercial? I was not going to toy stores or talking with children about Legos.
So I remember the TV commercials for Bionicle, and I remember that was as I was getting out of TV essentially, right? So that's what I'm saying is like, the unfortunate, less entertaining, boring real answer is no. You were at the age where it makes sense, where you might not have heard about it given the trajectories we've had. And if you were younger by about 10 years, which a lot of the people here are, it would be in line with when you would be playing with stuff, right? Because conversely, I assume that unless parents gave them their old Legos and passed it down or something, a lot of these folks didn't play with the older retro Lego sets that were from the early 90s, that it wouldn't line up with you from that point. Or
also,
the 80s.
There's another part of this that we have to consider, which is the rampant the rampant confusion that happens every time one of these blind spots come up, which is, how do you not know about this? And every single time I go, well, how did you, person I'm talking to, find out about this thing? It is like, well, my friend told me this, and it's like, I didn't know anybody that was into it. And they go, well, I used to watch a guy on YouTube, and he mentioned it, or whatever. And it's like, I don't watch anybody on YouTube, and never have, ever.
Yeah.
And then it's like, well, a streamer that I liked, well, I don't watch anyone's streams ever. And that's where it gets actually extra crazy, where the actual more insane thing is that me to the highest degree, but you also to some degree, like, I don't watch people's fucking streams or videos or YouTube channels or any ever.
Now there
which is why I didn't know about the GTA thing or the fucking.
Well, now there are times when, like, just based on, I suppose, like the fact that what we do is focus on video games, it makes. I will take the heat for something like PUBG, you know, sneaking up.
Yeah, really,
that's embarrassing.
That's a
horrible blind spot.
Streaming like early access trash at random every couple of weeks because I don't want to miss the next big thing.
But I'm gonna, like, the reasonable thing is just like, yeah, this is the methods, the avenues with which you would have heard about it don't exist. And don't at that age and at that particular method of media consumption, right? And it's just, and the thing is of course, is that it's the same going backwards, right? Like, I don't know, like, drop your 80s cartoon references, you know, if you would, and that's gonna fly over heads. But some people might have heard, but probably haven't sat down and watched, I don't know, episodes of Saber Riders and the Star Sheriffs, Mask, Dino Riders.
Oh, jeez.
Fucking, you know what I mean? Like, there's a point where you're like, yeah, you're gonna see a screenshot, maybe a YouTube video of a 2-minute thing for it at one point. But yeah,
I'm seeing folks say that there were trailers in films. I don't remember ever seeing a Bionicle trailer in a film.
Yeah. See, so right off the bat, I say Dino Riders, and people go, oh, you mean Spider Riders? And this is exactly the point. Let's take a look at those years. You know, I'm just gonna be real with these things, man. Spider Riders, I remember I was like probably in my late teens to 20s, if not, and it was coming out on Teletoon, a channel that only existed when we were in like grade 9 or so. Teletoon started.
Yeah.
Right. So, like, it's the ultimate in, like, new age stuff. Yeah, 2006, 2007, right? That's so far into, like, us being like in our 20s at that point.
The time period was, if Bionicle came out in 2000, then I would have been too busy selling my classmates' pirate PlayStation 1 games to watch this. And then once I went to Sejep, I was too busy watching people's entire binders of bootleg anime to fuck it.
So, and here's the thing, right? Saber Riders and the Star Sheriffs is too early for both of us, but that is because of my cousin and my older brother. I know about it through them, so that's more their lined up interest, because that's 1987. That's 2 years after I was born. Right? It's like, why would I wake up and be alive, and then the first thing I see is this anime? That'd be crazy. So it's like, you have to have something around you to either show you something slightly before your time, or you got to have someone who's your peer showing, or you got to be sitting down watching it yourself and taking that in. You know?
I have a question though. Why is the answer to me not knowing about a Lego spin-off toy anger?
Well,
why mad?
I mean,
why mad about me not know about brand of toy?
But the vibe I got was that Bionicle was really successful when Lego introduced it as a reintroduction of Lego to a new generation of kids, right? Lego as a thing was just kind of like, you little figures, you build them, you do stuff, you have fun. That's all there is to it. But like, that was a particularly successful new thing that was introduced in the mid-aughts, and it blew up. So, you know, now, if I'm not mistaken, they did things with that property. Was there not, like, animated. Was there? There's comics. Was there not a movie? There was a movie, right?
I'm gonna assume, based on the intensity of the reaction, that there was everything.
Yeah, there was a lot of stuff. There was a 2016 show that came out, from a couple years ago. Yeah, I mean, it was very successful, you know? So Lego rebranded itself by that point. But for me, it was the suitcase full of random colored bricks and stuff that, like, my brother got, and that was just kind of, like, inherited, ultimately. And Twitter and Tumblr had a big Bionicle revival. There you go. Okay. So that's it. It's just, guys, it's just an age generation thing. You know, there's stuff that's gonna not pop up to you.
No, there's a detail. There's a detail that I didn't put together. There was a Bionicle PS2 game that came out in 2003 that was bad. And I saw the cover and asked someone if that game was good, and they told me it was not good, and then I imprinted the name that I now knew.
I see.
And went okay, and then went erase, and just went no.
Right, but I remember that.
But I didn't know anybody who. That one was extra frustrating because, like, I didn't know anybody that played any of those games ever. And then when every single person that I got a hold of and asked, like, well, how did you find out about this? They're like, oh, I watched so-and-so's videos on it. I'm like, well, there's your solution. Unless it's an hour-and-a-half long video essay about Hong Kong cinema or Tim Rogers going to the eye doctor, I don't care to watch it.
Well, I suppose here's the other reality of the situation. If we're going to be real, we have cultivated an audience that is into, like, the fact that we are into things that other people don't give a shit about, like Devil May Cry 3 and ranting about character action games and ranting about fucking, you know, Gurren Lagann and
what?
Silent Hill and all that, you know, and all that stuff back in the day.
Are you telling me that while other kids were playing with their Legos, we were studying the Blade?
Yakuza and Metal Wolf Chaos and like all of this shit that you guys are like, oh my god, they know about and or are into that stuff, or you guys are finding out about it for the first time, or you're peripherally like, holy shit, I can't believe someone's into that obscurity. That's also going to backfire from time to time when the Venn diagrams don't perfectly overlap. And that there's going to be shit with age that just pushes that aside. Or just the big one for me, often that I bring up a lot because it happens so much when I'm getting presented with stuff, is the Canadian aspect to it, right?
Oh yeah, no, big Canada. Now, obviously, I'm going to assume that this particular Lego brand was also in Canada in full force.
Oh, for sure. For sure. But a lot of the times whenever something gets brought up that is like, oh yeah, no, we didn't have that up here, Canada, or even particularly even like Quebec or something, where it's just like, yeah, that was an American childhood thing. We didn't get that here. There's not much I can say. Yes. Star Wars Eclipse.
Felt like getting hit in the gut.
I mean, so the thing is too that is interesting here is that this is one of the first non-book Star Wars properties taking place in the High Republic era. Yep. And the High Republic was what they introduced as the new era that they're going to be like focusing on in terms of a bunch of the fiction. And there's a lot of curiosity to see what that's going to look like, because I heard that, like, you know, there's some interesting ideas being used in the new the new novels that have come out and stuff. And the whole idea behind the High Republic is this is long enough in the past that the not just the Republic itself is at its height, but the Jedi Council is also at its height, and they're not a bunch of fucking stuck-up assholes sitting there in their tower staring at the child, telling him not to love his mother. They're actually a little bit more flexible and realistic in their approach to things. So it might create some characters that are just not insufferable asshole Jedi. So
maybe
that idea of that era sounds interesting if it's played with in the right way.
I think the most interesting thing about this game by far is going to be when we go through it, what the effect of this being a Disney/Star Wars property and having to abide by the terms and conditions therein is going to affect it. Because unlike almost anything I would ever say this about, having a Disney producer man standing over the shoulders of the dudes and ladies at Quantic Dream and going, no, you're not putting that in the game. No, you're not going to do that. No.
Well, that's the question.
Its point can only be for the better.
The cutting room floor will be very interesting. Because make no mistake, despite the fact that I literally lost the air in my lungs when that logo popped up, it was vacuumed out of the room. This will be Quantic Dream's best game, as each subsequent game has been. Right? Each one has gotten better and better, and each one has had less Cage involved because if I remember that interview from long ago, the co-creator of Quantic Dream said, we are containing him with more writers. Right? They're bringing in more pillowing around him. So perhaps, maybe, the Twi'lek rape escape level will get cut before David has a chance to put it in the game.
Or at very least, maybe it won't be an entire chapter of the game.
Maybe it'll just be like mentioned offhand. Maybe, you know.
Maybe.
But after all, it can't not be there in any way, shape, or form because the female characters in his game exist to be whores. After all.
Yes, and also to be fair, that's also why Twi'leks exist in Star Wars.
Well,
like straight up, like.
Well, the answer,
an alien race of people invented to be strippers.
Yeah, what else can we do, right? And the answer, based on the characters we've seen, is a whole lot of things. What else can David Cage do? Mm-hmm. We'll see. We'll see.
Hey, come to think of it, Star Wars is a really good fit for Quantic Dream, considering their dislike of gay people. Star Wars would be a great setting to not have to worry about that ever again.
Wow. You can just cut that 1 second right out. Yeah, region lock it. Have fun. It
just like blasted me in the face with the irony of Cage wanting to make a game all about emotions, but not for women or the gays. Those groups love to have emotions.
You're criticizing his art. You're going to make him cry and run out of the courtroom. Stop it. He's just asking questions. How dare you? Now, while you're at it, press X to kneel and R1 to unzip the zipper on the dude's pants.
Wait, does that, like, I'm like journeying through it. It's like, does this mean, like, the entire reason his games are so emotional is because he's writing them explicitly for emotionally distant straight men who are not going to deal with emotions in their day-to-day life otherwise? Like, is that the explicit intention?
He's writing them for himself, Pat.
Oh, okay, yeah, that is the intention. Oh, yeah, all right. I did it. I got there.
So it was fun explaining to Reggie the part where it's like, okay, how do we summarize this? Because, you know, Min was like, yeah, I don't know, I played it, he's like, when I saw the robots at the back of the bus, I didn't think of anything. I just thought robots at the back of the bus. And I was like, okay. And he's like, also, I killed Kara immediately in my story, so who knows? And I was like, wow, that's a different game.
Listen, if you haven't played Detroit, there's a lot of value actually in Detroit. Like, it's better than we expected. I cannot think of a single game that has a better piece of advice in it than kill Kara immediately and have just Connor and Marcus segments.
Incredible.
It is such.
I can't like.
It
that's
bumps
crazy.
the game like 2 points. It's crazy.
Yeah, I don't know
It's
if he
nuts.
I don't know if he intentionally did it or not, but that's the version of the game he played. So I'm just like, holy fuck, dude. But I got the pleasure of explaining. I was like, okay, how do we? Because you know, he's been around. Reggie's been around long enough now that he's seeing all the Omicron jokes and stuff. And I'm like, how do I explain, you know, in a short form what this experience is like? And I basically was like, hey, you know, and I told him the story of the front menu girl, the main menu robot.
Yeah, okay.
You know, and I'm like, I think that's the best way to summarize it is, let's not make any judgments or any statements about anything real world or whatever, but let's have a character who sits here and literally quotes MLK at you and also is here to ask for her freedom, which you can choose to give her. And then when the fans said, hey, we miss her, give her back, he went, okay, you can put her back in.
I forget.
You can enslave her again.
I forget the gentleman's name, but it was like right after it came out. There was a black streamer who was streaming it and was sitting on the title screen, just chatting about the game, and he's leaning back, and then she just starts with the tone was like weirdly condescending from the robot. Like, have you ever heard of Martin Luther King Jr.? He said, and the dude just starts to sink.
Yes,
his eyes go slack. Yes, and he's just like, oh, come on.
It's not condescending in the traditional sense. It's condescending in the HR corporate meeting sense.
Yeah.
The HR lady has called everyone into the cafeteria, and once we've all settled in, she walks up to one of the black employees and begins and says, have you heard of Martin Luther King? And then starts looking around the rest of the company. That's the specific tone she's using.
Yeah.
On the title screen. So anyway, yeah, that was the David Cage experience in a nutshell. I cannot wait to see how much Cage leaks through and how much doesn't. It's like a reverse Kojima game.
Yeah.
You're 100%. Gonna sniff out every single part of it that is Cage-like or Kojima-like. But the answer is, we want more Kojima. We want less Cage.
Like for Zangief, come here with me. Come here. With Kojima and Death Stranding, it was the first time he was able to just completely go absolutely nuts, maximum budget with all the stupid ideas. And there's some problems with Death Stranding, but I still think about Death Stranding all the time because it's just so unique,
interesting
and weird and interesting. Yeah. And there's so many parts that work really well.
And, like, what was fucking hilarious is, while I was still recovering from the psychic damage of the fucking Quantic Dream logo, I was talking to the guys about what this all means. It was in the middle of, I think, near getting an award for its music. So the timing couldn't be any more fucking apt to be like, oh, by the way, check out this this fake tweet between David Cage and Yoko Taro about what it means to be human. You know? Just to cap everything off. So yeah, let's see where this goes. And I really like...
Hey, idiot. No, you, Wooly. Come here.
I imagine that this is going to be like a scenario decided by the Disney Star Wars cabal, and that there will be a series of places and things and planets that like are key that are, you know, you can't fuck with, but the characters and the way they act is going to be up in the air in the most Quantic Dream fashion. And they're basically just gonna, you know, they're gonna do what Detroit did, but stick in the Twi'leks and the humans and the you know, the Jedis,
Star Wars,
the Jedis,
good old Jedis, yeah, the Jedis.
I have the wonderful return of how had Goth God fucking
you tried.
Shit happened this week. So, fun fact, I went and got a new PC. It's fast. Windows 11 has actually been doing me just fine. That works out great. PC's nice. Thank you very much. What's not great is that my bank sent me a new credit card to buy the computer with. I'm like, oh, new credit card. Great. Excellent. I'm switching banks, moving out to BC, blah, 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 right? Go down to the computer store. Hey, computer man, here's my new credit card. I would like you to charge this credit card. And he goes, okay, it's been declined. And I go, great. He's like, did you fill it up? I'm like, this is the first thing I have ever bought on it. And he goes, duh, I can't help you here, man. You might want to go down to the bank down the way. So I go down to the bank and I talk to the bank. And I'm like, I activated this card. They're like, you sure did activate the card. It's on fraud protection. I'm like, why is it on fraud protection? It says, well, it says here you're from Quebec. And this is cards from BC. And you just tried to buy a new computer. So the fraud protection kicked in. I'm like, great. Well, I'm me. I'm here. I'm in the bank. I tried to buy my own computer. Can you please take the fraud protection off? And she goes, no problem. Just give me a second. And she grabs a phone and she dials a number. And then she's like, on hold. I'm like, how long does this take? And she says, it may take up to 3 hours. Because I have to call the fraud protection section. And I have to wait in line on this telephone. And I go, okay, well, I can show you my ID and then leave, right? And she's like, no, you have to be here when they pick up. So I'm like, are you seriously telling me that I may have to sit here in this bank at your desk for up to 3 hours? And I'm like, she goes, yes. I'm like, I can't do this at home. No, it has to be inside a branch. Okay. So I pull my phone out, and 90 minutes later, she gets through and starts a, hello, yes, this gentleman, Patrick, there's fraud protection on his card. He wanted to buy a computer. It is him. I have his ID here. And the guy on the other end goes, okay, well, tell him to show you his recent bills with his BC address on them. And she's like, okay, can you give me your recent bills with your BC address on them? I'm like, no. One, why would I be carrying that around? Two, I literally moved like 15 days ago. I don't have bills with my address on them. They don't exist. And I can hear the guy on the other, well, we're going to have to decline and cancel the card because somebody is, we can't confirm that you're the real you and you're in the bank, so you're trying. Like, Jesus fucking Christ. Give me a fucking second. And I go into my email, and I'm going through it, and I'm like, here's my fucking mortgage application. It has the name of the fucking house on it, and my address and my name. Here's the part where I signed with the bank. Is this good enough? Well, I need a second one. Okay. And I ended up finding, oh God, I found the fucking receipt for like the down payment on the move. Like for the movers that had the address on it. And it wasn't like a bill to the address. It was like, deliver it to my address here. And she goes, oh, okay. And then she turns to her fucking thing and like hits 3 buttons and goes, your card works now. And I go, does it? Can I check? And she goes, sure. And you know, they hand you the debit thing that is only for the teller to check your PIN. And I try the PIN fails. So the fucking PIN they sent me in the mail that goes with the card to activate it, fucking doesn't work. So if I had walked out and gone back to buy the computer, it would have fucking declined again. So then I had to fucking fix it myself with the fucking, you know, fix it. Oh, here's the PIN. Great, thank you. 2 hours later, bunch of fucking bullshit. Okay, great, fine, excellent. Get the computer, bring the computer home. Computer nice, yay, computer. That's the end of that story. Moving on. My fucking stuff has been trapped in Quebec for months because it has to be shipped cross country, and that sucks, right? So I talked to the moving company, the only moving company that'll ship it across the entire country, and I go, hey, I would like it shipped to this address. Okay, no problem. All right, when is that going to be? I don't know, like middle of November? Oh, okay, that's pretty far. You'll let me know when they're on their way, right? Absolutely. When they pick it up from storage in Quebec, we will give you a call and tell you it is on their way. So on fucking Thursday, I get a phone call, and the guy's like, yeah, we got your stuff. Get ready to see us Saturday morning. That's the only day we can do it. If you can't do it on Saturday morning, then we will have to put it in storage and deliver it to your house the next time we're in British Columbia. Okay. Sure. Also, you have to pay the remainder of the balance on the move by end of day today, or we will not show up Saturday. And I'm like, how much is that? It's a couple $1,000s. I'm like, thank God I had a couple $1,000s ready on my fucking credit card, or else I would just not have had my fucking shit for over a month. Okay, great. It's paid. The move is paid. They're going to come Saturday morning. It's a couple weeks early, so I guess it worked out great. And then I send the text, hey, man, my wife and I are very careful. We're being really careful about COVID. Is it all right if we ask you to wear some masks? No. I'm sorry, even if we pay you extra? No, we are vaccinated. No, we will not. So then I send them a couple messages more, and then the answer comes back, I guess we'll figure something out when we get there. So they show up, and I start talking to the guy, and I have like the fucking N95s in my hand that are brand new out of package. I'm like, dude, please? If not, I'm just going to ask you to just leave everything in the fucking, on the lawn. And like, because you can't go in the house. And he goes, I hate these fucking masks. I can't breathe for shit on them. And they're not that big. I hate them. And I'm like, I will offer you $100. And he goes, oh, okay, I guess I'll ask the boss. And the boss, the guy, not the guy I've been talking to, comes out with 2 masks in his hand, because this is the obvious scam they run on everyone who asks them to wear masks. Where they go, we don't do that. No, we won't do it. Until you say, yeah, okay, fine, I'll pay you extra. And then they just have the fucking masks. And I go, no, not those ones. Because those are like 3-week-old hospital paper masks. These ones. The ones that will actually protect us. So I give them the masks. And they actually do a very good job moving in the stuff. And all of our stuff was there. And it all went really well. And there's only one little foible. The gentleman who complained about having breathing issues with masks, I believe him. I actually really believe him, because during the process he mentions, oh, COVID's not that big of a deal. I got over it like 2 weeks ago, whatever. And two, the man, Wooly, you've met people of this nature who have the smoker's aura. The smell of cigarette smoke that comes off of them from like 4 or 5 feet away. This man had the smoker's aura, and also his index and middle finger on his right hand were blackened and yellowed from cigarette smoke. And he got outside after moving, and he pulls the mask off, and he's breathing heavily. And I'm like, dude, yeah, I bet you have a hard time breathing. Considering you are an ultimate chain smoker and got fucking over COVID 2 weeks ago. So,
was it you that brought up that $100 figure?
Yes, it was me.
Okay.
Because it's like, we'll just have to figure it out. I assume that is where I'm supposed to offer 20, and they go, no. And I say 50, and they go, no. So I just said fuck it and skipped like 20 minutes of haggling with this fucking biohazard outside. And so here's the thing. When they were in the house, they were actually really good about mask etiquette. Almost like they actually totally wear masks on almost every job. It's just they don't do it without, a little extra.
So with the credit card stuff, like that shit, whenever I've had shit like, whenever I've had similar experiences like that, it's always been, I'm like, what would help me feel better is if like the teller could explain the hypothetical identity theft scenario where all of this would go down. That's the thing, because I'm like, I get it, and I understand that you're like, if you want to have defense layers so that someone can't fuck with your shit, totally. But like, give me the hypothetical where somebody goes all the way to this length where they're physically standing in front of you like this with identification.
So my favorite part was like, was it because it's the first purchase, or is it because, did I not buy lunch on it first? Right, that kind of thing. And she's like, no, any purchase over $1,000 or some amount, I forget what it was, in the first month of the card would have triggered the fraud protection. So I'm like, oh, so any use of the card for the purpose of a credit card would have triggered the fraud protection. And the only way you can fix it is by trapping me in the fucking bank for, this is not me saying it, this is my mind anger. The only way to fix it. So basically you're giving out credit cards that you don't want people to fucking use? With like, what the fuck? Why'd you send it to my fucking house?
So the bit about looking for a proof of address has been such a constant issue at random points that I started walking with a hydro bill in my jacket for that purpose. I think because and the other bit too as well is a lot of the time a place or an office or any sort of federal place will be like, okay, cool, show me your driver's license, and I'll be like, I don't have a driver's license, and then it'll be like, oh god, okay, and then it all starts, and it's like you don't have a contingency plan for someone who doesn't have a license, and then it's like, well, that's where you hope you're walking with your hydro bill. Hope you're walking with your passport.
The worst part is that I did not sign up for the card online. I signed up for the card in person with the representative who set up my new bank account in BC, who required like my SIN card information, which for Americans is Social Security, like my passport, my fucking Medicare card, like. The bank fucking knows I am real. Yeah. They confirmed it in person when I applied for the card.
Medicare cards will work in Canada like in 9 out of 10 cases, but the cases where you have an address requirement, they're not going to accept your Medicare card. To anybody who's saying, because there's people who are like, we have state ID cards. Ooh. Here in Canada, we have Medicare cards, and those work most of the time, but it's not going to have your address on it, right? To get your address on it, you got to go with well, when I say a hydro bill, that's an electricity bill, or
it's not a water bill.
No, Hydro-Quebec was the name of the company. So yeah,
we got Hydro BC out here now.
Yeah. Sure, yeah, you got to show a utilities bill or a passport will count sometimes, or whatever. But like I've started walking with one because of this exact issue.
No, I'm gonna email myself like a couple of my fucking bills from like my internet provider and stuff like that so that I can just pull them out. Also, here's my favorite part. When I showed them like a couple bills and like my mortgage stuff on my fucking phone, they didn't fucking verify that those were real. That could have been a fucking PDF that I fucked up with my fucking address and name on them.
Now right, when the person looks at your phone bill after you struggling to find the thing, that is likely her skirting policy to be like, fine, he showed me something. Because absolutely it could have been a PDF on your phone, right? So that's likely them just being like, fuck it, we'll just count this. Totally.
I literally don't get a single bill in the mail anymore. What am I, fucking 55 years old?
Every company has sent an email saying, hey, stop with the paper bills. Do it all digital now. Like they've all said switch to
My
your
bank, every time I log in, they're like, do you
paperless.
want, hey, make sure, which is strange because I actually already get the e-bills, but they're like, you can fucking, you don't have to get paper bills anymore. Like nobody wants to send out paper bills.
Phil, who says,
Hey, Phil.
Dear Soda Pop Hustler and Big Goblin Rustler. Oh, your name is a little further. Okay, well, I used to love short-lived hustle or scam segments on the podcast because I always wanted to write in, so I thought you guys might enjoy this. Hustle or scam.
God.
I used to work as a pizza delivery driver for my mom and pop's pizza place. When someone would call up and deliver, we'd always tell them that it would be however long the delivery would take, plus 10 minutes. For example, if it took 10 minutes to make the order, 10 minutes to deliver, we tell them it'd take 30. Of course, it was mostly...
That's pretty reasonable.
It was mostly to account for traffic, detours, and any other problems. But when I first started working, I noticed I was getting tips almost every delivery. I don't live in a country where tipping is that commonplace. I later realized that the person the reason I'd get tips so often is because people thought that I was always early. Most of the time I was being told to keep the change, but somehow they'd throw me a $5 or a $10. Not that bad for a shitty pizza job. Maybe a little duplicitous, but what they don't know can't hurt them. So, what's your verdict? Is that a hustle or a scam? That is
Jordy,
absolutely
how long
a
is it
hustle.
going to take to fix the engine?
Yeah,
I don't know, Captain. Maybe about 8 hours.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
What do you mean, Jordy? How long is it going to take you? I told you, 8 hours. And you told him the right time? You gotta give it twice so that when the captain asks for it, you look like a miracle worker. That is a hustle. That is a pure hustle.
Absolutely. Applauded hustle. Great. Because it is legitimate, your reasons are sound, and they do exist for a purpose that makes sense, which is if there is traffic, you have estimated for it. Everything else is just bonus. If someone feels nice because the perception is that you did an excellent job, what's the problem?
As long as your estimate follows a simple formula like you described, and you're not kicking out numbers like it'll take an hour to get there and you're there in 7 minutes, that's absolutely completely legitimate. There is no problem.
Yep.
There is no reason to inform people the way it works.
Yep. You're not...
They're being genuine. They're being genuinely generous out of fast service.
Exactly. They're happy for the result.
Problem.
You're not fucking them over. They're happy for the improvement over their expectations. Yes. Those actions are unclouded. Indeed.
Yeah. There's no ambiguity on this one. Nobody's ever going to be mad that you got there with their pizza too early. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And you're not giving them deadlines of like, well, it'll be an hour. Wink. Right? No, it's easy. That's absolutely. Also, delivering pizza sucks. So, like, good for you.
Donovan says, "Dear Algorithm Hustler and React Stream Scammer, last month in India, a group of farmers organized to create a fake cricket league. They wore uniforms of real cricket teams, added fake crowd cheer noises to the stream, and broadcast the games live on YouTube. They got some Russians who I guess would bet anything to bet on these games. The masterminds had walkie-talkies that would communicate to the umpire and the players to rig the outcome and maximize winnings. This went on for 2 weeks until they were shut down by the Indian government, but they made almost 4,000 USD. Some people have been arrested."
Right. Oh, that's good in India too, with the way the rupee. Oh man, that's big dollars.
But the question remains: hustle or scam?
That is absolutely a scam. That is without a doubt.
It is a scam. Clearly, it is. But so the idea, right? And there's a source here with the story, and it seems that the scam is directed at the Russian gamblers. And if you are scamming a scam op, do you automatically get upgraded to hustle via double negative?
No, it's a scam.
Because scamming a scammer might be a double negative. It might upgrade you into a hustle. Clean scam. Targeted? I don't know.
No.
I don't know.
It can be a justified scam, but no, it's a scam.
It is a rigged fake cricket league. You know, here, let's see. I don't know, man. I need more data. I'm kind of thinking. Okay, Russian gamblers were duped by a fake version of the Indian Premier League cricket. A group of farm workers pretended to be the players reaching the quarterfinal stage before authorities figured out the con and arrested the organizers. Fake rosters, fake games. They were promised 400 rupees per match. Okay. They had the fake crowd going. Now
fake crowd?
Fake crowd noises, and there's footage of the YouTube live stream with fake crowd noises. Now, okay, the bets. How do the bets take place? This is kind of what I guess it's going to come down to. They take live bets over the Telegram channel, and then they'd instruct the umpire over a walkie-talkie to signal the opposite of whichever way the bets were.
That's obviously
That's such a scam.
That is like laughably a scam.
That's such a scam, dude. Oh man. Damn. Okay. Yeah, nah, dude. Like, that's a rigged ass scam. The broadcast included the voice of someone imitating a well-known Indian cricket commentator, and the commentator was amused when he saw the news. Oh. In the first installment of bets, they made over 300,000 rupees before the authorities shut down the situation. The players agreed to cooperate with the police. Gamblers from all over Russia. I've never seen it. Oh, here we go. Quote from the article. I've never seen a scam like this. These guys just cleared a patch of land deep inside the village and began playing a match, beaming it onto YouTube and making money through gambling. Even the local villagers were not aware of this. We know very little about the Russians who were putting bets on this game. God damn, dude. Oh, that's a scam. What a scam. That's, yeah. All right, fine. No.
That's a scam right there.
That's big old scam. Yeah. I will institute a house rule that, like, when you are target scamming someone who is attempting to scam you, that can be a reverse hustle. You can double reverse a hustle out of that situation. Okay, all right. The refs are gonna call it. That's that's a scam. It's in the article. That being said,
what do you mean that being said? How many times you gotta call this a scam before you're like, whoa? Oh, could it be?
No, it's a scam. It's a scam, but there's some hustle to that scam that you gotta respect.
No, all scams are hustles.
You gotta respect.
But not all hustles are scams.
Right. You gotta. But not every scam. That's the thing is, I would have thought that every scam is not respectable, right? Up until this point. In my brain, a scam was not to be respected. A hustle was to be respected. But I have been introduced into this is a respectable scam.
No, the respectability comes from the craft, not the morality.
But also but the end take on, for example, the pizza hustle, the pizza delivery hustle, was that everyone walks away happy. right?
No, it's the morality of it. It's whether or not there was an active deception.
Duplicity. There was no duplicity in that. People just kind of tipped, and were happy to get their pizza a little bit earlier. All right, yeah, that's a good
In the
one.
Pizza one, they assumed
They did assume.
there was no deception.
Where was that? Yeah. Thanks, Donovan. Good shit.
That is definitely the Morbius movie I've ever morbed.
Is it in fact the Morbius of all?
So to predate this, I really need to say that in my whole past week of streams, I've had moments where I lose 30 seconds, 90 seconds, 5 minutes here, because I remember reading that Chainsaw Man edit where Denji and a girl go to a movie marathon and all the movies are boring except for the last movie, and it cuts to like a black and white photoshopped like vampire Jared Leto face with the text "I'm starting to morb." And then the two characters from Chainsaw Man look at each other and they start crying. It's like, I'm gonna remember that moment my whole life when he morbed out on all those guys. So like that was like just burning hot in my mind.
I mean, God bless and shout outs to the moments where you just sit down and you kind of have a moment in life where it's like time to sit down and just watch or experience a podcast segment. You know? Yeah.
But also, so Morbius is in this bizarre state where everyone's having so much fun with it because no one's seen it and no one actually even knows what happens in the movie. No. Like, no one has a goddamn clue what happens in the movie.
I saw the poster and I saw the cave, and I'm like, okay, there's a cave and he morbs in the cave. And then there's like the dancing Britishman, and then
what's his Will Grant? That's not his fucking name. The Doctor Who man, Matt Smith. That's
and then he's the only one who's like facing you on the poster, while everyone else has their back turned. And then his eyes are in the sky.
I mean this without irony, without exaggeration, unironically. This is one of the shittiest movies I've ever seen. I'm going to put it above The Last Airbender in terms of like saw it in a theater style movie.
Okay.
Like you know, we can go back to the jokes in a minute, guys, but we like there's fun to be had in the actual movie. Okay. There were like 3 times where we had to pause the movie and rewind it because we didn't understand what was happening in the scene. Kind of like bad movie.
Okay. Like the editing was not clear.
Like there were 2 that I can think of right now in which we're sitting there going like, wait, what happened? What was that? Why?
Mm-hmm.
And we did a thing that we do this if we're watching like X-Files, or if we were watching fucking you know, Seinfeld, for example, where the second act turn happens in, say, an X-Files episode, and you tap the screen to see exactly how much is left, and you're like, that's right, it's the 20-minute mark.
Yeah, okay.
6 minutes before the second batch of commercials.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And we were doing that, and the one that got me is, I'm like, Paige, how much time have we been watching this movie? And the answer was 10 minutes. The answer was 10.
You did the tap?
Yeah. Like, we've been watching it for 10 minutes.
The status
out of
tap.
A 1 hour and 45-minute runtime.
Damn. Yeah,
so,
okay.
So
that's a new one, because I guess you had to look at your watch back in the day, but no one did.
Yeah.
but with videos, like the what the fuck just happened and where are we in this video file. That's good.
So
That's good. Yeah, okay.
So like every part of this screams like mismanagement. You probably saw the trailer for Morbius, which is him going to the Bat Cave and he puts his hand out and the bats are there and he cuts his hand. I'm gonna go through the first like 10 minutes of the movie because the first 10-ish minutes of the movie were so legitimately confusing that me and Paige had to stop the movie and discuss what scenes had occurred in what order, which is not a great sign. So the first scene in the movie, well, actually, before that even, you get 2 in association with Marvel Pictures opening credit scenes.
By the way, we are now 10 minutes into the podcast.
I know.
So in this time frame.
Yeah, we'd be sitting here going, I don't understand.
Well, 7 audio, 10 stream. Anyway.
Okay, great. So, in association with Marvel Pictures, and like, maybe it's psychosomatic, but the in association with Marvel Pictures seems really big on the text.
Yeah,
okay.
Mm-hmm.
The first scene is the scene from the trailer with the bats. He's got busted legs and he's got his canes and he goes down to the Bat Cave and then he sees the bats and he goes, morb me up.
He morbs
with the
up.
blood on his hand and he's capturing bats. Okay. The next scene is him as a child and it's him in a hospital for children with horrible blood diseases, of course. And he saves his other friend's child life that has a blood disease by being a super genius and repairing a $1 million dialysis machine with a piece of wire from his pen. And his fake hospital dad says, "It took a team of scientists to build this fucking thing, and you fixed it with a ballpoint pen? Michael Morbius, you're a genius. You need to go to New York and be a genius." And then he tells his blood friend, he says, "I'm gonna go be a genius." Okay.
Dawn of the first Morb.
That
was the first one. That was the first Morb.
That was the first Morb. Yeah. It then smash cuts to him at rejecting a Nobel Prize, and this is where it starts to get really confusing. Okay, because the first thing out of the presenter's mouth is like, Michael Morbius has his doctorate at 19 and for the incredible work, and here we're going to give him the prize. And then he denies it. And the makeup they have on Leto to make him look sickly, like I can't tell how old he is. So I thought he was like 19 or 20 in that shot. But then he goes back to the lab and he has the bats. And so that's when me and Paige stopped the movie, and I'm like, wait, we just had the start of the movie and then a flashback to him as a child and then a flash forward to after the start of the movie. But I thought we were building up for like 30 minutes to him going to get the bats because he's explaining his fucking vampire thing.
So, okay, so you're in teenage years, but the teenage years flash back to the kid years so that and then you go back to the teenage years.
I don't know. And this is where we start running into the problem where it feels like The Room, where characters exist to walk on the camera and go, Michael Morbius, you're such a genius with your synthetic blood. You saved my arm in the war. Thank you, Michael Morbius. I'm gonna leave. And there's a little sick kid that's in the scene in the movie for like 6 minutes to show you that Michael Morbius is the most caring physician in the world.
Just morbing my job.
Just morbing. And here's where the movie broke for me and Paige. It's the 15-minute mark in which his assistant Martine catches him in his lab experimenting on bats. And he's like, I gotta do with the blood. I gotta do a thing with the bats. It'll cure me, right? And the sidekick lady just goes, but at what cost? And it's like, do you know you're in a comic book?
Was there
like, what does that
to
fucking mean?
That?
Like, I've created a new cancer medication, but at what cost? Okay.
Was there any indication that there was any reason to
No!
ask? Yeah. Okay.
No!
All right.
And
Cool.
then,
Cool.
and this is where I'm gonna stop talking about the specifics of the movie, because this is the moment where I was like, oh no. And then Paige described it in a tweet that it's like the worst pseudoscience I've ever seen in film, and I agree with her. He's like looking at bat DNA, and he's like, the bats can do the coagulants, and that can cure me, right? And he's talking about vampire bats, not the vampire bats of the South American place that he was at, just vampire bats, right? And he goes, well, vampire bats are the only creature on Earth that have evolved exclusively to feed on blood. And Paige and I just sit there and go, no, that's not true.
What is a mosquito?
What is a leech?
What?
It's one of those things that's just so flat wrong that it just hit. I'm like, no, that's wrong. That's what's a tick?
See, what I was waiting for was for the movie to start and Morbius walks into the Bat Cave and he holds his hand out, and then the little text at the bottom says March 2020.
Okay. Yeah. And then the movie continues, and they definitely want to remind you that every newspaper everyone is reading is the Daily Bugle.
Of course.
Like calling it out by name and putting it dead center. You definitely want the most uncharismatic FBI agents I've ever seen in a movie go, wow, this is just like that thing in San Francisco.
Mm-hmm.
You want dude, we were 48 minutes into the movie and we're sitting there going, what is the plot? What is the plot? What is it? Where is it going? And then the villain shows up, and then the whole rest of the movie is the villain is bad, I have to kill him.
Is his introduction getting dressed and dancing?
No. He has just as much screen time as Leto does. He's all over the movie.
Okay.
He's Morbius's little blood friend from the Blood Orphanage. And like, how do I put this? There's just so many, like, it's so bad. Like every scene you're sitting there going, why is this happening?
So do they do the thing to establish at any point that, like, he's a hero, but he's a dark hero? He's not quite a villain.
The first thing he does when
Morbius.
he does the transformation is kill like 8 random people.
Okay.
So that he's like, oh, it's a curse, I'm a monster. But like, it's Paige reminded me that it's very common to vampire stories that vampires are unnecessarily dramatic. And this movie has the absolute biggest problem with stakes I have ever seen of anything, and then doesn't address it. So the whole crux of Morbius's personal problem is that he has made artificial blood for the purposes of having a story, and artificial blood keeps him from turning into a monster, right? But the artificial blood is losing effectiveness, so eventually he'll have to drink red blood.
Mm-hmm.
And he won't do that because he killed those people and he's a monster, right? However, he has like 30 pints of regular blood in his lab freezer that he loses, and then later on in the movie steals a couple pints of transfusion blood out of like a paramedic's bag.
Uh-oh. Spoil Morbs incoming.
But he's like, but the artificial blood's gonna run out, and I'm gonna turn into a monster. And me and Paige just just steal blood.
So then you steal the blood.
Just
and then...
steal blood. Like one, you know those little blood bags you put up into an IV.
The IV
that keeps him good for like a whole day. So what is the drama? What is the problem? Like, and then at the end of the movie, he just drives away and just forgets about it. Like that dilemma with the blood is just gone.
Does it just taste better when he bites it out? Like, is it just cooler and edgier? Is there like a freshness to it?
It's stronger or whatever.
Okay.
And it also has I don't know what to call it. I'm gonna call it a visual effects issue and a power issue. Okay, Wooly, Spider-Man in this universe even gets bit by a radioactive spider, and it rewrites his DNA. Very similar to Mr. Morbius, right?
Mm-hmm.
What does Spider-Man get? He gets powers akin to the abilities of a spider. He can crawl on walls with little things on his fingers. He's super strong. He's super fast. He's agile, yada, yada, right? That makes sense because he got his powers from cells and genes and whatnot, right? I don't know what part of vampire DNA allows a man to fly unassisted like Superman with flowing wisps of VFX energy coming off of him.
And it's not a rewrite, it's just blood, right? It's just a human body with better blood in it.
It's just a human body with a little bit of vampire bat DNA.
Okay. Because, like, it doesn't sound as if this is setting up the idea of, like, by the way, vampires exist and some of that is inside of him. It sounds like it's trying to do a science vampire.
It's definitely science vampire, to the point where they even have a moment, one of the most confusing moments of the whole movie, because the directing was bad. Okay? They're sitting in a diner, and his lady friend offers him a cup of coffee. And he goes, no, thank you. And she goes, it's decaf, don't count on the caffeine. And he goes to reach for the coffee, and he's like, ow, no coffee. Right? And he goes, I'm not that kind of vampire. And me and Paige are sitting there going, what is the fucking relationship between a vampire and caffeine? Or like he doesn't need food? Food hurts him?
Was it
what
the
is happening?
Was it?
So we had to rewatch it twice in order to realize that she put the coffee in a sunbeam. Okay, but here's why we didn't understand, because the past two scenes were him riding a bus in broad daylight. He had a hoodie on.
Yeah.
But they're talking in daylight and walking around outside in daylight. So why would we now think that what the fuck is okay, dude. Like most of the movie, just sitting there with your mouth open, just like, I don't know what's happening. Why is that? Why?
Okay. So Spider-Man exists as graffiti on the wall, right?
No, that was trailer only.
Oh wow. Okay.
The part where Michael Keaton talks to Michael Morbius, that's trailer only. That's not in the movie. What I will say, and this is gonna hit way harder for anybody that watched Spider-Man No Way Home. There's a little tiny piece of the end of Spider-Man No Way Home in the movie at the very end for like 1 second. The sky does a cool thing. And Paige was like, what is that? And I'm like, oh, that's a thing from the Spider-Man movie. And I'm like, okay. And she go, okay, right? And then the post-credit scenes are written by somebody who didn't know what the ending to No Way Home was. Like I'm watching it and I'm like, that's wrong. That makes no sense at all. And people are pointing out that the post-credit scene has since been cut to remove mentions of some characters, but not the one on Apple TV.
Oh, they fucked up the post-credits and then removed it.
It's
wow.
it is nonsense. It makes no sense. It makes no sense at all.
Okay.
Like when they wrote the post credit thing for Morbius, like they did not know what the ending to No Way Home was, so they just said fuck it, and it makes no sense.
Okay, well, hold on a second.
Did you see No Way Home?
Yeah, I did. So tune out if you don't want to have that spoiled for you if you haven't seen it yet.
Okay, yeah, sure. We're gonna spoil the post credits of Michael Morbius right now.
More
in 5
spoils.
seconds.
Incoming.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Michael Keaton as Adrian Toomes shows up in the Vulture outfit and goes, I don't know how I got here, but I think it has something to do with Spider-Man. I'm thinking of getting a team together. And Morbius goes, that seems interesting.
He's Sinister Sixing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and like
okay.
Morbius doesn't know who Spider-Man is and also spent a whole movie trying to be a good guy.
So then,
And
like
also,
a minute
why
later,
would Vulture from Marvel go to Sony for no reason? Why? Why?
Oh man. Oh, it doesn't
Like
have
they
to make
didn't
any
get
fucking
it.
sense.
Like they literally didn't get what the end of the movie was and how that worked.
Wow. And because of the Venom stinger. Yeah, okay. Okay.
The Venom stinger in No Way Home makes sense. And the stinger at the end of Venom makes sense. This one makes no sense. It makes no sense.
But shut up. We want to establish our Sinister Six and nothing's going to stop us.
I saw an interview, not an interview. I saw people talking about it's apparently fucking Andrew Garfield like turned down the opportunity to be Spider-Man again in this next batch of movies. Like they wanted Garfield to come back for like Sony's fucking Spider-Mans, and he's like, "No, I don't want to."
Yeah, I saw a bunch of press about that and about people going, "Oh man, yeah, back to the olds," and it's like, way to just ruin what that was, you know? If your desire is like, cool, now we can just do them all over again and keep them around, and you just completely ruin what that was. Way to just take the wrong thing from that.
The movie is like astonishingly poor.
Oh,
like,
man.
Like there's some there's some, you know, you ever had that feeling watching something and you're like, I bet the director thought this was really smart. So like Morbius and Matt Smith, is that his name? The Doctor Who, Morbius and Doctor Who,
yeah,
are arguing, and like they're arguing in front of like a street light or like a sign, and like no matter which way they turn and no matter which way they're standing, the red of the street light is always on the Doctor Who man's face,
of course,
because he's been eating people. And the white is always on Morbius's face. And
yeah,
I'm like,
that's what, that's what Zack Snyder feels every time he clicks play on an MP3 while they're editing a movie.
And you're like, yeah, okay, right?
Yeah.
But then Matt Smith goes to a club and he's walking towards the club, and the club has like a red door. And so he's walking into the red, and I'm like, oh, yeah, because it's blood, right? But then it cuts to the inside, and it's like the entire wall and every single item in the frame is red except for Matt Smith. And he just stands there waiting for an elevator for like 2 seconds. I'm like, God, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Like, I get he's a vampire. Like, fuck.
Every time Superman T-poses, you know, with the light of Christ behind him. It's that feeling.
It's just like I just couldn't get over it. Like I swear to God, there are 6 conversations about I'm a monster. No, I can't. The artificial blood will wear off. I won't do that. And me and Paige are sitting like, so just drink real blood.
No, but the angst, though. The angst.
Like somebody gave you a blood pack earlier in the movie and you drank it and you were fine for like a whole day. So we've established that that's a solution. So what is the more like you're fucking superpowered? You could do anything like, with the fucky. Oh my god. So yeah, no, that is Matt Smith, the Doctor Who man, easy winner out of this movie. The scene in which he is dancing and putting on his clothes and making scary vampire faces, unironically the best scene in the movie.
Damn. Okay.
It's the only scene in the movie which perfectly makes sense with what is happening in the movie.
Okay.
Because he's like, I love being a vampire now. This rules. I'm going to go down to the club and have sex with a lady because I'm a cool vampire now and I'm no longer got leg blood problems.
Now, how's the Morb action?
It's okay.
Okay.
It has. I'm sure you've seen it. I'm sure you've seen it in the trailers, where like there's this wispy energy that comes off of the vampires.
Sure.
So they kind of look like wraith-like. When Mr. Morbius is by himself, and fighting a goon or whatever, it's fine. It's got a cool look to him, flowing around. When it's the two vampire mans fighting and they're both doing it and Morbius is in black and Matt Smith is always in white, it's a fucking mess. The final scene of the movie has, or like the big action sequence, has like Michael fucking morbing out and a million bats and then Matt Smith morbing out and like and it's a fucking mess.
The fact that the stinger is not the only thing it should be, which is Wesley Snipes walking on camera, is a complete... I'm just confused as to how you don't nail that. Because that's the only thing you could think of that you should be doing.
Great.
This entire franchise should just be there to set up Wesley Snipes basically walking in and going, yeah, there were enough zeros. I took the check. Let's go. Because that's what... If you go back to fucking Radioactive Spider-Blood, if you go back to the comic, like, it's Blade and fucking Morbius and his mom, and that's the thing.
It's and I regret to inform everyone that at no point in the movie does Michael Morbius struggle against his Morb self and go, I'm starting to Morb. I'm morbing out, or it's Morbin time.
Morb.
Yeah, that's the best. I'm starting to Morb is my favorite one. That being said, like walking in with all this stupid meme shit, there are like moments in the movie in which he is morbing out, like when he gets really vampire-y and all the visual effects go on and he starts to get super nuts, like he might as well be yelling out, it's Morbin time.
Man. I just, like, you take a trash fire like that and you reach out to whatever companies in this world of like crossover nonsense where the right paycheck can solve all problems, and you just promise the return of fucking Blade, and people will be like, God damn it, now I have to watch fucking Morbius 2. Everyone will have to watch Morbius 2 if you do that.
I think it is absolutely fucking positively insane that a movie that costs $25 to view on Apple is at the top of Apple's movie section right now purely due to people like joking about the Morbius sweep and I'm starting to Morb.
Pure meme value. Yeah.
It's like
meme dollars.
Like me and Paige were talking about Morbius on Twitter and somebody hit me with a 31-second video in the tweets that was the movie, the whole movie. And I saw people talking about on Discord how people were getting banned from Discord because they're posting the entirety of the Morbius movie in Discord to watch amongst their Morb friends. Morbin.
Meme dollars, man.
Yeah,
They're
dude,
real.
It's
real. It's real currency.
somebody in the chat just pointed out we're hitting B movie levels of meme. Absolutely, 100%. That's absolutely what is happening. Like I would actually say if you are the kind of person who loves to see like a just really terrible film and like as like somebody who's like, wow, they made every part of this bad. Like this is a great pick. This is a great pick because like
it's kind of a relief to hear that it's not middling, I suppose.
Oh no. Oh god, that would be the worst, right? No. Like okay, I'm gonna use another example. So there's the little girl, and she's like, "I'm Morbius. Thanks for helping me with my blood. Do you think we'll ever get a cure?" It's like, "Oh, I don't know, there, little child. I'm a great doctor, and I'm like a Morbius. I push myself too hard with the kids, but you know, I'm a great doctor." And then in the later in the movie, oh no, she's burning up. She's burning up. Oh no, we got to put her into a coma to save her. Oh, there you go, kid. You're just going to take a nice nap. You're going to take a nice nap. And then you never see that kid again.
Of course.
And I'm like, what was the point of the scene with her getting the fever and the coma?
No, it's not about her.
Was
it
to re-up? Was it? I think it was to re-up on even though Mr. Morbius is a monster now, he's still a great doctor and a caring super Morbius.
He's tortured and angsty, but he saves the kids, of course. Assuming that's what happens to them. Who knows if it cuts away.
So like, all the dialogue is terrible and like it's shit, and it's bad. Like I think the romance thing is one of the worst ones I've ever seen, in which he just tells her to close her eyes and then walks forward and kisses her. Like there's no cool line. He's just like, "Hey, close your eyes." And she's like, "Why?" He's like, "Just do it." More. But there is one thing where I went, okay, that's all right. Hey, that's one good one. Where he like horribly, viciously beats a bunch of counterfeiters, which is one of the weirdest sets of goons I've ever seen in a film. They're counterfeiters. They're counterfeiting American money in like a weird lab.
Okay. And
he like viciously hurts them to steal their lab. It's very weird. But when one guy's doing the very typical, "Oh my god, oh, you're a monster, who are you?" Right. Leto gets his big monster face and goes, "I am Venom." And the guy runs away. And I'm like, okay. All right. That's okay.
Sure.
That's cute. That's
sure.
a cute thing for a person that knows that Venom is around to do.
Okay.
Yeah, no, that movie sucks.
Good.
That movie is way worse than I thought it was going to be. Like way worse.
Because it could have very easily have been a thing where like it functions for what it's trying to do. Everyone besides Jared is doing fine. It's structured okay.
No,
it's just cringy Jared. You know, yeah.
No, like and it's
good,
like
good.
The script is the biggest problem. Like there are long portions of the movie that make no sense. Like when he turns into Morbius, when Morbius turns into Morbius,
when he
morbs for the first time,
yeah.
he's on a ship with a bunch of hired goons that are there to protect the girl that he's, his doctor friend, and he's like morbing out in the background, and one of them comes to check in on them, and she tells him to fuck off and leave, only for them to notice that Morbius has escaped confinement and is about to morb them all. And so he's killing all these random goons that he hired to be there to stop him if he morbed out. Like, it's so fucking weird. It's so goddamn weird.
That's what they want. That's what you signed up for. That's the script you read.
Oh.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Okay.
So yeah, I'm all morbed out.
The number
I'm
one.
all morbed
the
out.
number one movie in America.
I woke up this morning and I asked Paige, like, Paige, what happened in that movie? She's like, I don't know. I don't know. I was morbing out. So that's. I don't want to. I'm gonna go into my week later because I'm all morbed out right now.
Okay. Hello, funny names I'm not smart enough to think of right now.
That works for me, man.
In the style of Hustle or Scam, I want to ask offensive or funny. Hypothetically, I, a white guy, go to a costume party wearing a normal suit, but full blackface. And on the lapel of the suit is a Canadian flag pin because I'm actually going as Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. Does this fit the Tropic Thunder rule? Is this funny enough? Is this best left to the funny thought experiment? Is it offensive or is it funny? Sincerely, a different Justin.
It's very brave.
Justin, I want you to listen to me very carefully.
No, don't listen to him.
Listen, look at over here,
No.
this side of the screen.
Don't.
Justin, do it.
Don't trust him.
Do it.
Do not trust him. He is not trustworthy.
Do it.
Wooly.
I am giving you permission
No, don't do it. No.
to do it.
Don't listen. This is the devil's bargain.
You should really do it.
You are being the actual devil right now.
I'm giving you the permission
No, don't do it.
to do it.
I think that's a bad idea.
I think it's a great idea. Send pictures. Post it everywhere.
Yeah, okay. I knew it. Yeah.
Prove it and let me know when it happens.
It doesn't actually make any sense, though. Here's my problem with it, is that, like, Justin Trudeau did not dress up as himself in blackface. He dressed up as, like an Arab guy,
Aladdin,
or like a black
I believe.
guy.
He was Aladdin.
No, wait, there was the one where it was just him in a white T-shirt and jeans.
One time it was Aladdin. Another time it was just a brown guy. So one time it was a character. Either way, that's not the point. The point is do it and post pictures. I'm surprised you haven't done it already. That's what's up. Absolutely. Co-signed. Do it. Straight to Facebook. Never mind, like, get Twitter in there, get the Reddit in there, all that, but make sure you get Facebook in there as well. You want all your direct IRL mutuals getting in on that.
Yeah,
Tag
you
him.
should not.
Tag him in it.
You should not trust this.
Pop it right the fuck off. Do it.
You should not.
All right.
You should not. Don't trust Wooly.